You know, for centuries, alchemists were obsessed with turning cheap metals into gold. But what if the secret wasn't some magical formula in a hidden lab? What if it was hiding inside some of the tiniest living things on our planet? Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Let's get into it. I know, it sounds totally wild, right? Like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But this isn't fiction. This one question is actually at the heart of a huge revolution in how we find and recover one of the most precious metals on Earth. And just to be clear, we're not talking about a metaphor or some ancient myth here. We are talking about a real, genuine biological wonder. A microbial mystery that scientists are only now, finally, beginning to unravel. That's right, these incredible little microbes can actually live in environments so poisonous, they'd kill just about anything else. And as a way to defend themselves, kind of like cleaning house, they process these dangerous heavy metals. The side effect? They create tiny nuggets of pure, solid gold. It's unbelievable. Okay, so why should we care about any of this? Well, it's a huge deal because the way we've always gotten gold, well, it's got some major problems. We've actually got a global gold crisis on our hands, and it's coming at us from two completely different directions. So on one side, you've got traditional mining. It often uses really nasty chemicals like cyanide and mercury, stuff that does serious long-term damage to the environment. But on the other side, we have this ever-growing mountain of electronic waste. Think about all our old phones, computers, circuit boards. They create these giant urban mines that are just packed with valuable metals, if we could just figure out a smart way to get them out. Just how rich are these urban mines? Get this. From a single ton of electronic junk, it's possible to pull out as much as 400 grams of gold. 400! That's an absolutely insane concentration when you really stop and think about it. And this chart really puts it all into perspective. Look at this. Industrial mining might get you 1 gram of gold from a whole ton of rock. 1 gram. Artisanal mining does a bit better, maybe 25 grams. But e-waste, it's not even in the same league. 400 grams per ton. It just blows everything else out of the water. The big takeaway here is that our old electronics aren't just trash, they're literally one of the richest gold sources on the planet. And this is where our tiny bacterial heroes come back into the story. So the billion-dollar question is, how do we tap into that e-waste gold mine safely and efficiently? Well, it turns out nature already has the answer. Welcome to the science of biomining. Now, the key concept here has a pretty fancy name, biomineralization. But don't let that scare you, it's actually a simple idea. It just means living things creating minerals. In our case, it means these amazing bacteria can take dissolved, toxic gold out of their environment and transform it into stable, harmless, and very valuable solid gold nanoparticles. They literally turn poison into treasure. All right, let's meet the A-team. First up, we've got Cupriavidus Metallidurans. Think of this little guy as a tiny living refinery. It actually pulls the toxic compounds inside itself to neutralize them, and it ends up building this cool little armor of pure gold nanoparticles on its surface. Then there's Delftia Acidovorans. It uses a totally different strategy. It pushes out a special molecule that acts like a shield, grabbing and solidifying the gold outside the cell before the poison can even get in. Two different microbes, two totally brilliant solutions. So how does this microscopic factory inside C. Metallidurans actually work? It's an incredible survival story. First, a nasty mix of toxic gold and copper compounds rushes into the cell. Now, the gold is pretty clever. It actually blocks the cell's ability to pump out the toxic copper. It's a full-blown emergency. But the bacteria has an ace up its sleeve. It activates a special defense enzyme called CoP-A. This enzyme is the hero. It swoops in, neutralizes the whole toxic mess, and gets the copper pump working again. And for the grand finale, the now harmless gold gets pushed out and solidifies into those pure nanoparticles on the surface. It's genius. And look, this isn't just some weird thing scientists are looking at in a lab anymore. This is happening. We are right at the beginning of a whole new era, where this science is being put to work to solve that huge global gold problem we talked about. And here's the proof. It's already a reality. The Biogold project is putting this into practice right now. So how do they turn a pile of old circuit boards into pure gold? Well, the process is pretty elegant. First, they shred up the e-waste and dissolve it, making a kind of liquid soup rich in metals. Then, they just add the bacteria. The microbes go to work, selectively grabbing only the gold ions and turning them into solid gold nanoparticles, which can then be easily collected. It's a targeted biological purification system. So why does all this matter? I mean, why is this so much better? Well, the old ways of recycling e-waste usually involve smelting, which uses a ton of energy and can release toxic fumes. Biomining, on the other hand, is a low-energy, water-based process. It completely avoids harsh chemicals like cyanide, so it's not just greener, it's smarter. It's more precise, and it turns a major pollution problem into an incredibly valuable resource, all with a much, much smaller environmental footprint. And the experts in this field are incredibly excited. As Dr. Frank Reith, one of the pioneers here, puts it, the potential is just enormous. If we can find a way to speed up what these bacteria already do naturally, it could absolutely revolutionize everything from cleaning up old mines to making recycling more profitable than ever. You know, these story of these gold-making bacteria just goes to show that some of the most powerful solutions can be found in the most unexpected places. It really leaves us with one last fascinating question. What other waste products do you think we could recycle using microbes? Drop your ideas in the comments below.